All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're going to talk about the whole Belal Muhammad and Kamaru Usman situation, okay? And how Belal just continues to completely embarrass Kamaru Usman basically every time he gets in front of a camera or a microphone. And to be honest, I'm not even a fan of Belal Muhammad, but I think it's undeniable at this point that that is, in fact, what's happening. And this is, of course, over the whole podcast episode that Kamaru Usman really does not want to put out. Probably because he got completely humiliated. Okay, so I want to talk about that, as well as Kamaru kind of responding to some things that people have been saying about him during the lead up to UFC 315. But also later in the video, I want to go over a theory that I have that I'm not necessarily totally bought in on yet, but I don't think it's a completely out there or crazy theory, and that is that the beef between Kamaru Usman and Belal is actually fake and being manufactured by Ali Abdelaziz, who does, happen to be the manager of both of them, okay? And also, Belal says some things that makes me think that this could be the case, but either way, let's just get into the clips.
I brought up to him in the podcast. I was like, bro, you're not at the top anymore. You're not. I'm the champion now. And I think it just like hurt his ego so bad. And I was just watching him, and he's ready to tear up. And I was just like, bro, are you okay? Like, what's going on over there? I think these guys, he still talks like he's there. I'm like, win a fight. You haven't fought. You're posting all these videos. Soon I come back. Soon this. Soon that. Stop with the quotes, right? Like, him and Michael Chandler are teammates, right? When are we ever going to see these guys at the top? See you at the top. It's never happening. They have all the quotes in the world, but they're not good enough. Kamaru is one of those guys that he's not good enough. He's not going to make it anymore. And he's just trying to stay in the limelight by using my name, by talking to the champion. You're going to get a response from me, right? Because I'm a guy that's always going to clap back no matter who's talking, come up. I'm going to give those guys a shot next, right? Kamaru could probably post that podcast and, get in the mix, but I think it'll hurt his ego too much because he looks so stupid in there.
All right, now this is what I'm talking about, okay? Every single time Belal Muhammad gets in front of a camera or a microphone, he uses that opportunity to completely demoralize Kamaru Usman, and I'm going to be honest, dude, I think it's kind of fucking funny, okay? I'm not a fan of Belal, and I don't even necessarily think his trash talk's all that good, but I do agree with what he's saying about Kamaru Usman here, because Usman's got this weird stick going on where he will talk about how he's the top of the division and y'all must have forgot and all the rest of it. But anytime a fighter mentions his name or calls him out or anything like that, we get this weird shtick that he does where he'll be like, Henry, I don't know why these guys keep calling my name. I'm just out here on the sidelines trying to do my own thing and get better mentally and physically. And, when it's time to fight, we gonna fight, Henry. When it's time. And when I get that call, it's gonna be like, okay, it's time to put booby in. Or whatever the fuck it is that Kamaru Usman says. You know what I mean? Because he does say shit like that, and it's kind of ridiculous, but regardless. So I do appreciate him calling him out for that. Now, something else I want to just briefly mention, because it made me kind of happy, okay, is in a discussion about welterweight and who could potentially be fighting for the title, we still got strays for Michael Chandler, and that's fucking awesome because he deserves all the strays. Lastly, on this clip, towards the end of it there, you kind of hear Belal almost petitioning for a Kamaru Usman fight when he said, if he were to drop that podcast, he could probably get thrown in the mix for a discussion for a title shot if he was to get a win. So I do think that Belal Muhammad realizes that that fight could possibly be there, and I do kind of think that that's what they're going for. But either way, let's get to the next clip.
I think that's why he was angling those fights with those guys instead of, fighting the next number one contender. If I have to stick up for Kamaru Usman.
No, I mean, and I get it. I understand the business aspect of it. And for myself, I'm like, let me fight Kamaru, right? There would be a build-up. There would be a back and forth. And those are the fights I want, right? But he gotta win a fight. Like, he gotta fight. Like, all this talking, all this thing, like, his chest up, he's walking around with his shirt off all the time in his podcast, and I'm the pound-for-pound king. Show us you're the pound-for-pound king. Win a fight. You haven't won a fight in 3 years. Everybody's calling you out. You have Buckley saying his name a million times. Respond to these guys. Don't stop with the attitude of, these guys want to keep saying my name. When I'm ready to go, I'll go. That's like, bro, are you a fighter or are you a podcaster?
Okay, and I mean, right there, he just says the quiet part out loud, right? He is actively petitioning for a fight with Kamaru Usman because they were talking about how Usman was opting for pay-per-view draw fights rather than fighting real deserving number one contenders when he rematched Masvidal, when he rematched Colby and things like that. And Belal's like, yeah, well, get him a win and I'll fight Kamaru. I want to fight Kamaru. There's a real build-up there. There's beef there or whatever. And you just want me to believe that none of that is manufactured when you guys have the same fucking manager. Okay, now we're going to get into it in a little bit more detail later in the video, but I just, I keep noticing these little tidbits that get dropped.
Do you think Pound for Pound isn't posting that for like legal reasons? Like, how's this not? Everyone wants to see it, so it would do great numbers. What's the reason for it?
I think they probably rewatched it back and they saw like how bad Kamaru looked and he was like tearing up. And I think that we can't do this, man. It'll make me wait. Is there any sort of like, adjustments we can make with the lighting where we could do this and that? And it's like, I'm telling you, man, like,
See, these two need
I
to
felt
fight.
bad afterward. I felt bad afterward.
DJ.
Okay, now first of all, I want to just ask, what kind of fucking legal reason would, prohibit you from uploading your own podcast episode? That seemed to me to be a very stupid fucking question. Okay, but maybe I'm just being a bit of an asshole. But then this is another reason why I think this could potentially be a bit scripted. And listen, okay, I am not Jesse on Fire, okay? I'm not married to this idea. And if I get shown evidence to the contrary that these two legitimately have a problem, I will change my opinion and I will not harp on it for very long. But I do think that Ali Abdelaziz is the type of manager to manufacture some sort of beef between his two guys so he can make, money, get cuts of both of their paychecks. Okay? But Belal, it's like he has a script going on when they talk about this shit, and you'll see it in some of the other interviews that I bring up where it's the same talking points about the podcast. Yeah, he started tearing up a bit, and I mean, he looked really fucking bad, and it's like, okay, but it's the same fucking thing every time, so let's keep going.
And last one, speaking of that podcast, do you think there's a reason they haven't put it out yet? Or do you think they may be holding it in case he gets a title shot? Or is there a reason why? Did he come off worse is basically what I'm asking.
No, I mean, if you're a grown man and you start crying on a podcast, and it's your podcast, and you start tearing up, why would you want to put it out there? Unless there's like a really good editor that's going to try to clear it up. But I don't think they got that much money.
Yeah, I mean, if I was a grown man and I was crying on my own if I made you cry on your own podcast, I mean, you wouldn't want to put it out either. Right? It's the same fucking line every time he gets asked about it. And he even brought up the editing thing. Yeah, maybe they can try and, I don't know, edit the lighting or do something like that. But, I don't think they have that much money or whatever it is he keeps fucking saying. And it just makes me think like he's got a script. Okay? And now maybe he's just thought of a witty or clever way, or at least to him, witty and clever, for how to respond to this situation. So he's just kind of sticking with it, what he's already thought of. But to me, I'm convincing myself more and more going through these clips, making this video, that it is in fact scripted, okay? Because this is twice now that we've seen him get asked. Once by the guy on Mighty Mouse's podcast, and once now by Oscar Willis. Why do you think it is that they've not released it yet? I think it's pretty simple, okay? If they would have released it, nobody would give a fuck about it anymore whatsoever. Nobody would even be talking about it, okay? So it's a good reason to keep it in the vault, because people are way more interested in it now than ever. And if they do ever get scheduled to fight, they could release it as fight promotion, But either way, let's continue.
If I'm being honest, obviously, I think if Usman goes out there and he gets a big finish against Buckley, or even if Buckley gets a big finish, beating Usman and Colby back-to-back, I think that would put him ahead of everybody else. I think Ian and Usman would probably be the funnest build-up, the fight, no matter what.
How do you think Usman's going to come out in that fight?
I think he's
been off for a while, right? Did he have an injury or something?
I just don't think he has any knees, so he just has to wait until his cartilage grows back, and then he just tries to figure it out, and then it takes 2 years for it to come back in there, try stem cells, tries like collagen or something. But I think he was waiting for the right moment. And I think right now he's thinking that, all right, well, Buckley's running hot right now. It's a winnable fight for him. So maybe if he goes out there, he beats Buckley, he knows that his name's big enough to skip the line.
Do you see what I'm saying? Okay, wait. First of all, I want to say, hey, Full Send, don't fucking copyright me, please. And thank you, you motherfuckers. But also, he's just saying it out loud. This is in almost every single interview. He just said that if Kamaru Usman was to beat Joaquin Buckley, his name's big enough that he could skip the line. And he even thinks that that would be one of the more fun build-ups in the division because they would both be talking trash to one another. And I think that's fucking crazy. Okay, call me crazy. I don't think a guy on a 3-fight skid could go get a single win and be given a title shot, even if it is Kamaru Usman. Okay, I think that's fucking crazy. So I do think that they're kind of in on it together. I think that they view it as a fight that would sell compared to some of the other welterweights. And I think that their manager is probably really fucking pushing for this fight. And at the very least, okay, maybe Belal and Kamaru are not acting. And maybe they genuinely do dislike one another, but they were put in the same room for the podcast, and I do believe that that was probably Ali's doing, not just so Belal Muhammad could get exposure, but so something could maybe boil over, and then he could use it to make money down the line. Okay, either way, let's continue.
And his ego is so big. I went on his podcast.
What was good with the mystery podcast? Have you ever talked about that or no?
I've talked about it, said about it, but like for me, I understand why they wouldn't want to put it out, right? Like if you're on a podcast with somebody, if I was on a podcast with you and I made you cry on your own podcast, like you're gonna hold that in, and you're not gonna want to put it out there.
What happened?
We were on this podcast, and Henry Cejudo was like, how does it feel to be champion? And you're at the top now, and I'm like, it feels good right now because everybody wants to listen to you. Everybody thinks you're the champ. Everybody has to look up at you now. And Usman's like, I was a champ too. It's like, yeah, but you're not the champ anymore. And then he just couldn't let it go. He's like, but I'm right there. I was like, nah, bro, you're on a 3-fight losing streak. And he's like, I still had the belt. And I was like, I'm the champion now. But he just couldn't give me my props, right?
Oh.
It was just one of those where he was just like, but anything you do, I do better than you. And then I was like, but you didn't take the head kick better than me.
Damn, that last bit was not bad from Belal Muhammad. Okay, you didn't eat that head kick better than me. That is pretty fucking funny. But again, we get the very same telling of the story with the same exact lines. Like, oh, I made him tear up on his own fucking podcast. You'd hold that in too. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, I get it. If that's really what happened, he might also be this consistent. But it just really makes me think, and you'll see in the next clip, we get some smirks out of these two guys, okay? Where it does appear to me to be the case that they kind of realize they're all in on it once a certain question gets asked. The only problem that I'm having is I do completely, like, Kamaru Usman is a guy that I would 100% believe having an ego issue like that, where he cannot accept that he is interviewing the new champion of his division. Like, that would make perfect fucking sense to me, okay? But the fact that they have the same managers is kind of fucking with me. Let's continue to the last clip.
And I think that just like triggered him, where he was just like, I don't play these games, man. It's on sight when people talk like that. And I'm just like, we're right in front of each other on sight. So then, you
guys did it in person?
Yeah, it was in person.
Oh, because they do it over Zoom sometimes too.
No, this was in person. Yeah.
Oh, shit.
We had the same manager, right?
Yeah.
Ali was like,
Ali's the GOAT.
Bro, yeah, he's the man. And when he told me to go do their podcast, I was like, are you sure? He said, no, bro, it's going to be professional. It's going to be this. Like, you're good. I was like, bro, it doesn't matter to me. Like, I'm the champ. I don't really care. I'll go on the podcast. And then, Henry Cejudo twisted his ankle, had to break it up, but
oh, you guys actually got into a physical?
Yeah, but
have you guys said that publicly ever or no?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's
didn't know
put
that
out there, but like I said, they had the footage, right? Maybe he's waiting to
so
edit
you guys
and put
actually
some
got
stuff out
into
there.
it. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
that's funny.
Yeah,
damn. So that
okay,
would
now,
be a good
first of all, I
for a
think it's
fight,
absolutely
right?
hilarious that Kamaru Usman would say to someone who is right in front of him, quite literally already on site, that it's on site when people say those kind. That is, to me, very fucking funny. Okay, hey man, you want to say some shit like that to me? It's on site. Kamaru, I'm right fucking here, man. Yeah, but I mean, like, we gotta go outside or something. Because when it's time to put Booby in, you better hope we don't put Booby in. Okay, I can't be fucking up my podcast studio and shit like whatever. Dude, you are on site. That's very funny to me. But once whatever the fuck, the Nelk boy dude figures out that they're both managed by Ali, he's kind of got this shit-eating grin on his face. Okay, probably because he realizes what's going on, and towards the end of the clip, he even says, oh, so that would be a really good build-up to a fight, and Belal's like, yeah, it would be. Like, of course the fuck it would be, okay? Either way, let's get to now. I know I said that was the last clip. I totally lied to you, and I didn't mean to. But let's move on to Kamaru Usman kind of responding to some of the things that people have been saying about him recently.
But, yeah, I just don't like what I've been hearing from the camp. Oh, we're working on his boxing. He just worked boxing this camp. Or he's not going to take one shot. I don't like hearing that. Just state what you're going to do and go out there and execute that. I think that's what makes champions. But even moving on from that, Henry, like I said earlier, there's a lot of talk going on in this division, and a lot of it being aimed at me. I don't care about these dudes. Why are they coming at me? Crazy.
Let me read this real quick. Let me read this quote for you real quick. Kamaru from your
Who's
boy
this from?
Ian,
This is from
Ian Machado Gary. He should be focusing on his fight instead of worrying about me. Now he's talking about Buckley. That being said, I don't think Joaquin Buckley. I don't think Joaquin Buckley just beats Usman. I think he demolishes him. He will run through Usman. That's what he said. What's your take on that?
Hey, I mean, it is what it is.
He's talking about running through you, bro.
I get it. I mean, buddy might be a little salty because I did kind of put him out on blast, So I completely get it. And hey, you have a right to your own opinion.
Okay, now first of all, I want to point out that Henry Cejudo's absolutely fucking blitzed right now. He can barely keep his eyes open, and it's kind of funny, but you get to see what I was talking about earlier, where Usman's doing this weird thing where he's acting dumbfounded. Like, why are they talking about me? I'm just Booby. Why are they talking about me? And it's fucking strange to me, dude. You're at the top of the division. Of course they're talking about you. Okay? You're holding like a top 5 spot despite not having a win in the last 3 years or whatever it is. Of course people are talking about you. But, that's neither here nor there, I guess. And then, of course, he responds to what Ian Gary says, and he goes, I could get it. Maybe he's a little salty. I kind of put him out on blast. But I don't really know what the fuck he did to put Ian Gary out on blast. But either way, let's continue on because it gets better.
Yeah, but hold on real quick. Hold on real quick, Kush, because look, it's getting spicier. I want to show you what Dean Thomas had to say as well. Your colleague. Can I get a drum roll?
Sure. What did Uncle Dean say?
Can I get a drum roll? Come on, Kush. Okay, this is what your boy Dean Thomas, bro. I thought you guys were bored, but I want to know. I want to tell you what Dina White just said. Buckley is more than anything else hungry for this opportunity. He's hungry to show that he can do it. You've got a guy like Kamaru Usman who is not really that hungry because he's already been fed. He ate already. He's just trying to get seconds. He's older. I don't know. I don't see it. Dean Thomas, a.k.a. Dina White.
Okay, now really I had to just cut this clip in half because I was kind of exaggerating earlier about Henry Cejudo taking 30 seconds to read a few sentences. That actually took him about 30 seconds to read just those few sentences, which is kind of impressive if I'm being honest. Next time, Henry, when you want to record a podcast, maybe lay off the THC, bub, okay? Because you clearly can't fucking handle it, but they're just going over all these things that people are saying about him, but you want to know what they won't bring up is they won't bring up the shit Belal has been saying about him, and they will avoid the podcast episode like the fucking plague. And so there are parts of this that make me think that it could be legitimate and 100% real, especially like I said earlier, because of Kamaru Usman's ego. But there's also things that make me think it's fake. Either way, let's continue on and finish up this clip.
You know what, Henry? And yeah, we've been on the desk, and this is one thing that Dean is done. And Dean, yeah, I understand. I see where he's coming from. Dean said that plenty of times. He said that when last time we were on the desk together, with Jared Cannonier fought. He had the same thing to say, and Jared Cannonier went out there and showed him, hey, I'm still here. And the same here. I mean, this does nothing but.
Can somebody pull up Dean Thomas's accolades? Because he's talking like he's won a few world titles.
Listen, I don't even. Yeah, but I don't even. No, Dean is a vet in the game and a coach, excellent coach in the game right now. So I understand what he's saying, but this is just adding fuel to the fire. This is just extra motivation. You know, it sometimes it takes people to count you out enough for you to go in there and say, okay, I'll show you.
Yeah, but can I tell you something about Kamaru?
I've always said this all throughout my career, Henry. These guys, when they're coming to compete against me, anything they say or do can and will be used against them when we are inside that octagon. Because as I've said time and time again, I am the judge, I am the jury, and in that cage, I can also be the executioner. So that's all it is. This is all extra just motivation. And hey, it is what it is. It's my job to go in there and show them that, hey, you don't eat until big man eats first. And I am the big man. So let me eat again and again and again. And when I'm tired of eating, then these guys can come and get some. But right now, yeah, I'm still hungry.
Damn.
So, yeah.
Okay, now I had to include this. This is the most Kamaru Usman clip of all time. Henry, you know, when we step inside that octagon, anything you say can and will be used again. I wish I could speak fucking pidgin, dude. That would be so much funnier. But that was like the most Kamaru Usman shit of all time. I'm the judge, jury, the executioner, and then later, I'm gonna keep eating and eating and eating till I'm not hungry no more. It's like, okay, dude, fantastic. That's great. I don't know what else to fucking say about it. I just included it because it is. That is Kamaru Usman in a nutshell, dude. I'ma keep eating and eating. Wagwan, they eat, boy. Keep that same energy, boy. I wish I could speak fucking pidgin. I'm sorry, that was pathetic, but it doesn't matter, dude. The point is, he won't address the shit Belal Muhammad's saying about him, but he will address Ian Gary very briefly, and Dean Thomas, who is no longer even a fucking fighter. Now, I will point out that I do think it's funny Dean Thomas is acting like Kamaru Usman's washed at this point, when that guy was making every excuse in the fucking book for Anthony Smith. But either way, in conclusion, I'm like, this video almost convinced me, just watching through these clips a second time after I thought about this. I'm probably leaning 60-40, that at the very least, it is somewhat manufactured, but I want to know what you guys think down in the comments below. Okay, so like, subscribe, all that good shit, dude. I'll see you at the next one. Bye-bye.